KX News Storm Team.
Welcome back to KX News at 10. I'm meteorologist Michael Gonzalez, and another round of snowfall is done. And it was quite the efficient snowmaker across south central North Dakota, where we saw some areas with upwards of 6 inches of snow, especially across our southeastern counties. And then the Dickinson region saw around 9 inches. Hazelton there, nearly a foot. And very likely a few areas did end up seeing a foot, although we haven't seen any official observations of that value. And then across a scattering of other locations across western North Dakota and southern North Dakota, between 4 and 7 inches. And as we visualize this on a map, we'll see that radar estimates show this pretty good swath from about Dickinson to just south of Bismarck that received about 8 to maybe perhaps as much as a foot of snow. And here are some of the official observations that were sent in from people around the region. 10 inches again there at Hazelton, about a little under 5 inches at Bismarck, 1.5 inches in Minot, 2 inches in Williston. So it was primarily concentrated to the far south. The snow is just about done across our region. We're still seeing a little bit of lake effect snow flurries coming off of Lake Sakakawea this evening right now in the Bismarck region. Just outside our station, I did notice that we still had a few flurries going on. The radar seems to have not been picking those up recently, but we were seeing that across at least the Bisman area recently. For the rest of us, though, it'll be generally stratus clouds later tonight, and it should hang on at least through tomorrow morning, but things will broadly be clear by the time we get to tomorrow afternoon as this polar high pressure system moves its way on into our area out of Canada. This is representing the center part of a really cold air mass that has reached the area. That's why temperatures are generally 10 below out in northeastern Montana already at this hour, in single digits across central North Dakota. So as this begins to shift its way on to the south and east, that'll help keep conditions clear and help things cool off quite efficiently. And our snowstorm that we had a couple days ago has made its way well off into the lower Midwest at this point. Temperatures, as I had mentioned there, 13 below over at Wolf Point, Montana at the moment. Williston and Dickinson are approaching that 0-degree mark. Bowman has already reached that point, and we're broadly in the lower teens across the Highway 83 corridor. But really, everyone should be looking at a sub-zero night. And here's your wind chills brought to you by Absolute Comfort Plumbing and Heating. We're looking at single-digit wind chills across some of our eastern counties, but below zero wind chills across much of western North Dakota and over into northeastern Montana. In fact, 25 below wind chill over there in Wolf Point. And for that, the National Weather Service has issued a cold weather advisory for the Wolf Point and Scobie and Plentywood, Montana regions for wind chills perhaps as low as 30 below zero, maybe even reaching 35 below zero with some of the stronger wind gusts later tonight. Fortunately, winds are going to be on the weaker side, so those wind chills won't be super low for much of North Dakota, although actual air temperatures will be broadly below zero for almost the entire region. Maybe a few areas might be able to escape it with a low right around 0 to perhaps 1 degree. Just about everyone else, though, should be between single digits to perhaps teens below zero, especially as you approach western North Dakota and eastern Montana. Winds, though, as I mentioned, will fortunately be on the lighter side as we get into tomorrow, so the wind chill factor will not be nearly as significant. Those winds will be out of the northwest for the most part tomorrow, and high temperatures will warm up into the mid-single digits to perhaps even around 15 degrees. Dickinson and areas that saw quite a bit of snow might struggle to rise above, say, 5 degrees because that snow helps reflect some of that sunlight, but for the rest of us, maybe approaching 10 degrees under fair skies. And as we look ahead into this coming week, we'll see a general warming trend going into Tuesday, highs between 10 and 20 degrees under fair skies there on Monday, and we might see some flurries push in as a cold front rolls in on Tuesday, although before that cold front reaches us, we might even approach freezing in a few locations, so a little exciting. Fortunately, once that cold front makes it through, it will be much colder there for Wednesday, as we will see on Williston's next 5 days. We're going to be looking at that high of 6 degrees tomorrow, though up to 15 by Monday, nearly freezing on Tuesday, but then another cold front rolls through and we're back to 10 degrees by Wednesday, and a slight chance of snow perhaps there by Thursday. And Dickinson's next 5 days, it'll be a fairly breezy one for a couple days by the time we get to Monday and Tuesday. Then a cold front rolls through and back to teens for highs, but then back to near freezing on Thursday, though below average across the entire area. And Minot is going to be dealing with the single-digit highs tomorrow, but then warming up into the teens to even upper 20s by Tuesday with mostly cloudy conditions and perhaps some slight chances of snow by the time we get to later this week. We'll have more details as we get closer to that. And Bismarck, looking at a slight chance of snow there perhaps on Tuesday as the cold front rolls through and we cool back down into those mid-teens by Wednesday. Then some potential chances for snow by the time we get later into the coming work week. We'll have to see how that turns out, because we have had already a good bit of snow the last 7 days or so.
It's been a very pretty snow. It's light, it's fluffy, it's fun to, dare I say, drive in, play in, you know, kill snowmen.
Yeah.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it. Coming up next in sports.